Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Sassy Frizzle. If you are nasty, I don't know why I say that because being nasty has nothing to do with calling me Sassy Frizzle. If you call me Frizzle, I'll answer. Like, it's not even that big of a deal. But anyway, yesterday I went on a rant of sorts, and that rant was about people paying other people to provide them things like their logo and stuff and then they're using apps like, I don't know if Canva's an app because this is not me trying to shade Canva at all. Canva hi. I'd love to be part of your influencer program, but whatever. So, but using programs like Canva to create vector files. Canva is not the best medium to do that. And so with Canva being so easily accessible, and there are a lot of self-taught artists out there, I'm actually one of them. I don't know why the calculator open. I'm actually one of them. You know, you get a lot of trash. And I don't mean trash as in the work is not up to par or it's ugly. I mean trash as in once you have this file and you send it to a graphic designer or a company where you want it printed, and they send a message back saying, hi, do you have a vector file? And a lot of people just drop whatever file they have into Canva and then save it as SVG. That does not work. It doesn't work. And we can tell when you do that. So I thought that while I was ranting about it, I would at least take the chance to hopefully educate a little bit about it. And so here we go. The purpose of this video, really and truly, is to understand what an SVG is, why it's so important, and the limitations in Canva. Vector files, period, are sexy to graphic designers, especially me. I love them. And so I want to make sure that you, at the very least, have an understanding of why we love them as much as we do when we ask for your logo or whatever it is that you want printed. An SVG is essentially, it stands for scalable vector graphic, and it's essentially a series of lines and mathematical formulas to create the lines and the shape. So if you have a Cricut and that kind of machine, then you've heard of an SVG. But my hope is that you understand why the Cricut needs an SVG file. So for example, your SVG tells your Cricut where to cut on your mat, because it's a series of lines and mathematical formulas that create this beautiful picture in front of you. Now, I'm going to create a file in Canva, and we are going to export it as an SVG and open it in Illustrator so that I can show you exactly what happens and also why you have to pay someone an hourly rate to fix said file. For this, we are going to do, when I was testing this out, I had a flame. We're going to just stick that in the middle, and then let's go with a gold circle. And then I'm going to type logo just to make sure that it gives me something that I can work with. We can use that. And then we're going to add a little bit of text. I don't know, why not stretch it out? And make that a little bit bigger. And okay, so this is not supposed to be visually appealing. This is just an example. So yes, this is ugly, but the point is we're going to export this or download as an SVG. Take that back. I also want to do a background. So we're going to change the background to green. This is super ugly. It's offensive to the eyes, but that's okay. And then we're going to download it as an SVG. I'm not going to choose transparent background because, again, I did that for a reason. And then we're going to download the SVG called A Little Bit of Text. And then we're going to go over to Illustrator. So now we're at the point where your graphic designer has said, send me over your logo. And you're like, yes, I saved it as an SVG. My graphic designer is going to love me forever. And you send them, where's the file? You send them this. And the first thing that pops up is this little box. And the warning is clipping will be lost on round trip to Tiny. What the hell does that mean? Well, in my world, it tells me a lot about the file that you sent me, including it was made in Canva. Because Canva's limitation is you can only export as SVG Tiny. That may change in the future because Canva is trying its best to keep up with the market. But there are limitations, and that's one of them. What entirely does that mean, right? So I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to show you real world what it means that for the clippings to be lost on round trip to Tiny. It doesn't mean that you're going on a flight at all. Also, the file that you export from Canva exports as one layer. Just one. With this won't be as offensive as it could be, but it has all of these sublayers, which are then groups. And it gets really overwhelming. I'm going to actually show you one that let's do that on another window. Same message. I exported it out of Canva. And this one is also a little bit of text. But the layers in this are insane. So to even begin, you'd have to go through and do some grouping, get rid of the boxes that are around things that you lose the clipping on. Like, there's a lot of work that goes into making this pretty. And then you end up with things like this layer, which no matter how hard you try, can't do anything with it. So say, for instance, they're like, well, hi, I want you to change the color to blue. I can't do that, homie. Because if I change the color to, I don't know, blue, there's not much that you're going to get. Anything, it will create a big blue box around it. And that goes back to clipping. So that's already one issue that you have with this file. Then you have your text, which needs to be grouped. This is your background layer that also comes over as a shape. This is the other background layer that was there before you added that shape. And this little doohickey is just a picture, and that's what it will remain because it was not meant to be exported and or saved as an SVG because it can't. And remember when I said that SVGs, when enlarged, can be enlarged infinitely and not lose its integrity. The bigger I make this, let me isolate this. Here we go. So the bigger I make this, the more likely it is to lose its integrity. And as you can see, you're starting to see some blur and that kind of thing. So this is definitely not a vector graphic. I'm going to delete it because it is offensive to my eyes. However, your text also comes over as single objects, which definitely take time to group, and so on and so forth. Now, one thing also to remember is, remember I kept talking about clipping will be lost on round trip to tiny. Say I want to change this color to, what did we use before? Blue. You end up with changing the color of the blue box that is around it, because clipping will be lost on round trip to tiny. The SVG is a SVG tiny and it has its limitations. You can go in to the group and separate them from each other. And then, actually, that's not what we want to do. That's misinformation. We want to isolate the mask. But this is definitely not a tutorial for that, so I don't know why that was important. But anyway, I said all that to say that it can get really hectic when you when you send over files that are not created in a vector program. Now, there are programs that are vector programs that are not Adobe products, which means they don't have a subscription or, some kind of financial investment attached to them. One of those is Inkscape, and Inkscape pretty much mimics what adult Illustrator, Lord it be. It pretty much mimics what Adobe Illustrator does. There are some features and functions that are just not available. And that's because Inkscape is an open source software. So it's always being updated and made to be pretty. But yes, I wanted to show you a little bit about opening SVGs that you can tell were prepared in a non-vector program. And this is what we mean when we say we have to pay somebody to fix it, because where's the other one that drives me crazy, which is why I didn't use it as an example. This one. Without paying me an hourly rate, I'm not going to go through fixing this. I'm just ain't. So hopefully I was able to demonstrate the importance of using a vector program to create things that you would like to be enlarged infinitely. And also educating you on, we know when you put things into Canva and just save it as an SVG, or go online and find a convert to SVG website, and then that's what you send. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said before, if Adobe is something that is cost prohibitive, if you just want to experiment, if you just want to learn about using a vector software, I am not an expert by far. However, there's a lot of stuff that I do know, and I am willing to create a tutorial or whatever it takes so that you have a better understanding. So I'll close with this. Stop paying people to use Canva. Yeah. All right. Y'all have a good one.